Everyone has a story. Where have you come from? Why are you here? Where are you going? These questions lie at the heart of what it means to be human. And when we pause and listen carefully, we find that the answers can have profound implications on all of our lives. Welcome. This is True Stories.
So I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. When I was 7 years old, we moved to Prescott, Arizona, lived there, and I would say that I grew up in Prescott, Arizona, a small town. I took it for granted at the time. Prescott is a beautiful place, but at the time I didn't really see that. I was young, wanted to be bigger city type of stuff, but my parents put my brother, my sister, and myself into Catholic school. Church was a place to go on Sunday, and as a kid, I just kind of thought it was what everybody did. I thought that you go to mass, you kneel, you stand, you kneel, you stand, you get communion, say hymns, and then you're done. And honestly, I thought it was boring. I fell asleep a lot when I was a kid. So I didn't really get the fullness out of it, and didn't really understand it. I was in second grade, I believe, at the time, and at that point, there's a lot of information in the news about priests and altar boys, and it was something that was really hard for my parents to take. They were kind of getting through those issues, and then all of a sudden there was a bishop within our church who committed a crime. And that was kind of the last straw for my parents with the church, the Catholic Church. My brother was an altar boy at the time, so they immediately pulled my brother out of the altar boy program. They pulled us out of Catholic school, and we started going to public school. So as I went to public schools, I was shaped and formed by the people around me. I had a really distorted view on faith growing up and on Christianity. Just pretty much any faith in general. When I was a sophomore in high school, my grandfather had passed away suddenly from a heart attack, and my brother, who I had roomed with my entire life up to that point, was moving away and going to college. Both of these things kind of happening simultaneously was kind of a shock to me, and I had terrible anxiety for an entire year. I went to therapists. I did a lot of different stuff. A lot of it pertained to the fact that I didn't have anything to hold on to. When I was very young, my mom put me in a Catholic camp. St. Joseph's Youth Camp is what it was called. And the camp was, ironically, it was run through the Catholic Church, but everybody who worked there was pretty much atheist, which was surprising. I grew up at this camp starting from when I was 8 years old, and worked my way through to being the director of the camp. It was then I met my now fiance. I was going through a really tough time, and we were both working at the youth camp. And there was one day I was just sitting outside. There was some storm going on, so I was just watching. She came out and she just sat with me, and she could tell I was kind of in anguish a little bit, and just asking me questions, and I was kind of telling her what had been going on in my life, and she just simply told me, "Sounds like you need Jesus." And honestly, from that point, it was the seed that grew in me. About a year later, Alex and I started dating, and she began to take me to the church that she was attending in Flagstaff. We ended up moving back to Phoenix, Arizona, and we felt pretty connected to that church. And we were really worried that we weren't going to be able to find a church and a pastor like that. We had kind of bounced around from church to church. We went to some of the bigger churches in the Phoenix area, and then we were told by a friend about the Spring. So we went to the Spring, and there was this church plant, very small, intimate, and I think that was what we were looking for. Again, immediately when I walked in, we felt welcomed, we felt connected. it was just, and ever since we stepped foot in the spring, it's been a pretty amazing experience. It's shaped my life in so many different ways. I've learned so much about my faith and my journey, and about Jesus and the cross and sin and redemption. Jesus has transformed me in so many different ways. Anywhere from money to my relationships to my friendships. Jesus has walked with me with my journey towards marriage. And if you were to ask me 6 or 7 years ago if this is something that I would make central in my life, I would have thought you were crazy and that it would never happen. But it's been the biggest blessing in my life to find Jesus. I have a plan to be baptized, and I am so excited to be able to continue to grow my faith. I'm so excited and have such a spark in me to continue my journey that I'm excited to see where it takes me. I want to continue to learn some things that some Christians may think are simple, like just the ability to read the Bible. I have the unique ability to talk with my atheist friends about that. They notice when I hang out with them now, they notice that I'm different. Through work and where God is guiding me, I feel like I have a calling to work in nonprofits, and I feel like I have a unique gift to ask people for money for good causes. And that's something that I've been passionate about in the past. And I feel like that's where I'm most connected with God and Jesus is through working through nonprofits. Just having these different thoughts in my mind about what I want to do and where God is calling me. It's been a very extremely exciting process, and I'm excited to continue that process.